All right, wanted to do this video on a technique that I use to make stuff that somewhat repetitive not sound as repetitive. There's a million ways to do this, by the way. This is just my method to this madness, particularly with the drums, because that to me feels like it's the most repetitive out of all the things that I typically do. So one way is by using percussion and mixing up the percussion. So you'll see down here, I use life, and I made two different portions to the percussion. So initially you have, right? That's my dog snoring in the back, if you hear that. But then watch how I bring in the second part of that. Stacking the percussion. On top of, you got a simple drum. Okay, and then the next thing that I was going to show you was taking, now I don't know how you do it in every DAW. I can't sit here and say you do it exactly this way. It's really easy in Ableton, which is why I like it. You'll see this right here is one set of hats, right? Of course, I'm using two different hats. It's the same hat, but it's just pitched two different ways. But if you look down here, you'll see this velocity range. I've selected all the hats and dropped them in a velocity range of -32. And what that means is, when I select them, that every time it goes through and hit, you see that little shadow blue down there? It's gonna hit either at that velocity it's set at or a little bit below it, right? So that means that it's gonna randomize it for me. Now you can use the randomize button over here too and adjust and make it, but you can see I played it in at different velocities, so it's somewhat randomized that way. But then on top of that, I added in another feature, that velocity range, so that every time it hits, even though it's the same hats going all the way across here, it's going to vary it just a little bit, right? So that way, and then you'll notice, like, here's the snares. What do you see? Same thing, right? That little blue, that's because I've randomized the velocity range. See, what I'm trying to do is make the drums not feel so stagnant and so bland and plain, right? Not just the drum sound, but also, like in here, here's the kicks with all these different velocities or different pitches, but also in how the velocity range. So in here, you'll notice some of them I have the drops and some of them I don't. Particularly on the ones, like here's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? All those first hits, typically I'm not adjusting the range. I'm just playing. I played them in as that. I didn't draw these in, by the way. I played them in the way I wanted them. And then I adjust certain velocities just so it gives it some randomization. It seems like it would take forever, but it doesn't. All you do is just click into your clip, highlight the ones that you want. So like, let's say if I highlight these, right, then I could just slide the velocity range down. And it's the same thing all the way through. Go here, slide the velocity range down. 28, right? This one's not, so I could pull this one down to 28. But it doesn't matter. They don't all need to be down. But you just, if you're doing a 4-bar or 8-bar pattern, and you don't want to go in and have to keep playing patterns over and over and over, that's just a little cheat code that I use to help me to randomize this, right? And then I'll come in, and of course you got to do dropouts every now and then so that this stuff don't get too plain or too repetitive. So a little dropout, right? Something like that, just to give it some, so it doesn't become boring. Same thing over here. Oops. Do your dropouts. I'm actually gonna do that there. Let's just pull this back out. Okay. there. So I don't want it to be too long of a dropout. There you go. And you can switch it up, you know, how you want to do that. But that's a little variation thing that I do. And I just wanted to show y'all that you can do it in, like I said, you can do it in anything. You can do it on your keys. So like here's an 8 bar of the keys, right? I did it in here too. Look, -16. So just so that the notes can range from what I played it in as, and then a little bit lower every now and then when it plays. So each time it plays, it's going to play it a little bit different. Ain't going to be much, but you know, it's something just so, because I wouldn't, if I was playing this in real life, I'm not going to be, every time I play it, it's going to play a little bit different, right? So I'm not going to play it spot on every time. So I have a humanization going on. I got this velocity range that's varying. I have how I played it in, and it's moving in between using all those techniques to try to give some realization to it and make it so it doesn't bore the listener, the ear of the listener. And I'm playing a little guitar solo over that. With the percussion going in the back, so let the percussion, let it breathe a little. It's sound selection, but also it's techniques, and using sound selection and techniques to try to create this sound that you like, right? Whatever you're sculpting. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's music, right? In the end, you're making some, I haven't even put a bass to this. So that's the next step. So I got to go in and do a bass. Now for me, what I like to do with the bass sometimes is play like at least 8, but sometimes 16 bars, because the bass is just carrying. So that way it's not super repetitive. And I might add a little fill or a little run at the end just to, you know, let's see, because this key is, what key did I play in? Did I do C? I either did C, I think. I did B minor. So you'll see here's B minor. Right, those are the notes for it right there in the blue. So if I'm using B minor, then I'm gonna go in and I'm going to find what sounds good. I'm not going to just play it. The easy route is just to copy the chords down and just play the root note and let it just ring out as long as the chord does. But if I want to have some more groove to it where it's not just sitting pretty flat, then I got to get in and play it. Playing the 5th of the chord that you're playing. I'm not going to mess with that necessarily. I might just do octaves and then, you know, you're just playing what sounds good, because it's going to sound better if you do that than if you try to sit there and be super strategic of, I want to get, like, I could go into the chord here, right, and say this first one is a B. Okay, I know I need to play a B. And the next one is a D, play a D. And the next one is a G, play a G. Well, then you might as well just copy them off here, right, and just play them. But if I want a little groove with it, I need to feel the music and play it that way. So I'm about trying to feel it as much as I can and play it. Occasionally, I'll feel like, oh, this is too busy of a bass, so I just want it to be, depending on the track that you're doing, but you got to find what fits best for that track that you're working on. And every track might have a little bit of different in it depending on what's going on in the track. All right, that's it for this video. Just wanted to show you how I kind of put together stuff and give it some velocity variations and all that good stuff to try to make it feel more like I played it all the way through. All right, I'm out.